because this is the government now, the FDA, trying to send a message to everyone else. If you don't do what we say, this is what's going to happen to you. And I'm sorry now, Daniel, it's just gone too far. And we are now going to dedicate our lives to freeing our fellow man.
Well, God bless you. God bless you.
This is something that cannot continue. And so we're going to, now, just so you know the plan, we're going to take our letter that everyone can read at thefreedomcoalition.com. The Freedom Coalition, coalition is spelled C-O-A-L-I-T-I-O-N, thefreedomcoalition.com. You can read the paper that we're taking to Congress and to the President of the United States. And obviously, President Trump, I talked to some people who are pretty close to him. We've done a lot of work all this week in preparation for this trip of mine to D.C. We've done a lot of research, talked to a lot of people, including Judge Andrew Napolitano, and someone else who knows Trump pretty well is Ted Nugent. Both of those have signed on to support this and what we're doing. Dozens of other groups and people have signed on to it, and including you and Joyce Riley. And we're going to take this letter and put it in front of congressmen, senators, who we believe can take it and put it in front of President Trump. And what Ted Nugent told me, he said, if President Trump knows that these abuses are occurring, he'll do something to stop it. And so that's what we're going to pray for.
We're coming up on a break, Richard Mack. I am just blown away by the importance of what you're talking about right now. If we live in a free country, then this cannot stand. We'll be back after this 4-minute break. We'll continue with Sheriff Mack and what you can do to help him. From sea to shining sea, let liberty ring. Purple Mountains Majesties, the home of the free, the land of the brave. You know, the last few years I've talked to people and says, you know, there's a conspiracy to take over our government, to eradicate our Bill of Rights, and to replace it with a socialistic, communistic, corporatist mix where it crushes the will of the human spirit and takes our life from us. And they look at me like I'm crazy. And well, how do you know that? Well, I don't have to connect the dots and figure out this mystery and have somebody to blame. I don't need to. All I need to say is, here's the Bill of Rights, and look around you everywhere you turn, and you will see violations to it. And nowhere can we look in the mirror and we feel free when we have people like this, like the Hammonds, like Sam Gerard, who are so abused, and they are the tip of the iceberg, but they're the iceberg that we're going to start on. Sheriff Mack has dedicated a big portion of his life, and now is making a serious commitment to forget his life for a while and go to Washington and get on this. We need your help. He needs your help. The Power Hour is with this. This is an exploratory meeting, but we want it to be as beneficial as possible. He may solve the situation next week. It may take much longer. We do not know. But this fight must be done, and Sheriff Mack feels like doing it. Sheriff Mack, how can we help you in this monumental and very, very important task you are undertaking?
Well, we're certain that it is going to take longer, and I'll tell you why. Now, we might get immediate relief for the Hammonds and for Sam and some of the other people on our list that we'll still go over, but this is a very short list. We only got about 4 or 5 people on our original list here. Obviously, there's hundreds, if not thousands, that could be put on this list, and we get calls about that every day. We're not adding anybody else to the list right now. What we want is for Congress or the President to form a presidential committee with some of us, just people that are on the show right now, some of your listeners,
that's you,
and ordinary people, former sheriffs and current sheriffs, to be on that commission so that we review every single arrest. And this is in our letter.
Amen.
That we're taking to the President and to Congress next week, that I am taking there with me. Therefore, we solemnly request that an independent committee be established to review all arrests and incarcerations from the IRS, BLM, FDA, BATF, EPA, U.S. Forest Service, and all other bureaucracies in order to free any similar victims. We have many Americans and public officials who are eager to work on this committee. In the meantime, we implore President Trump to grant pardons to these aforementioned people and restore them to their families. So, excuse me, I'm just finishing swallowing my...
Sure.
Go for it.
The freedom,
heart drops are
Everybody get
feeling
behind
much
that.
better right now, because I just took them during the break. So, Joyce reminded me with her commercial that I needed to, and I took, during the last break, I took my Strauss drops. So, this is the point. We know it's going to take a long time to get all of these reviewed and done. As far as next week, we could have tremendous success. And I'm praying for that, and I hope everybody, one, is praying for us, and two, donating to help pay for this whole thing. And you know what? I'm going to tell you honestly, somebody's got to help me pay for my continued Strauss drops. So, my heart drops. So, most of you know I do have a heart condition, and but I feel fine, and I know that these have helped me, the Strauss heart drops, and Joyce is such a dear friend and supporter. We want everybody to be a part of this. The CSPOA does not have any more responsibility to do this than the rest of your listeners do.
Amen.
Even is everybody can do something, and we need phone calls. Normally, I've said on this show, forget the phone calls. Well, this time we need a few phone calls, not to everybody, but we need a few phone calls, and especially to the senators and congressmen of Kentucky, and especially the senators and congressmen of Oregon, and especially the senators and congressmen of Kansas. And we haven't even talked about that Kansas one, and that is Shane Cox and Jeremy Kettler, who Cox makes a suppressor and Kettler bought one, and we'll decide what happens.
Yeah, on the other side of the break, we'll get to that, and that's a very important case for a lot of reasons. But justice is number one. The freedomcoalition.com is this, where you'll find this, and we will go over the really 3 areas that you can help. I hope you have pen and paper ready when we come back, because we need your help.
We'll warn you, you'll have to buy from our cold dead hands. We want the freedom that God gave us, so you best not cross that line. If you want this gun, you gotta come through us and take it one shot at a time.
Welcome back to the Power Hour, 33 minutes after the hour. Just got an email from Linda. She says, she says she just joined CSPOA and just finished reading my first book, Are You a David, by Sheriff Mack. God bless Sheriff Mack, she says. Cheers. Pray for good health, well-being, and safety of our president and his family. So thank you for that, Linda. Before we get back to Sheriff Mack and what he's doing and how you're going to help, I hope you get paper and pen so that we need every one of you to make a few phone calls today. So we'll get to that in a second. Josh is going to tell us about our specials we have over at the Power Mall.
Right, and you can get all of Sheriff Mack's
to take this to another level. I think he's been emboldened by the election of Trump, and I'll ask him about that. I don't want to put words in his mouth. But now he feels like he has the opportunity and the duty and the obligation and the calling of something higher to go and help get unjustly incarcerated Americans out of jail who have been victims of our bureaucracy, have been thrown in for, not raw milk or in this case, chickweed salve by an Amish farmer. I mean, for God's sake, really? The Hammonds, double jeopardy. I mean, the case in Kansas, which we'll talk about. There are 3 ways that you can help right now that I can see. One, of course, obviously praying, thinking, telling your friends, getting behind this, going to thefreedomcoalition.com and signing the petition. Usually Sheriff Mack doesn't like petitions, but in this case, all the support that we can get to push this in the face of our congressman. 2, you can donate money. This takes money to do all this. This is the fuel that drives the engine for this. You can go to CSPOA and donate. You can donate a little bit a month. I encourage, at one point we had the Power Hour had several, quite a many listeners who were donating $5, $10, $15, $20 a month. Anything that you can donate. This is such a worthwhile organization that this is the type of things that they do on the boots on the ground, sheriffs in rural communities that are standing up to defend the Constitution and to support our Americans. The third way, and this everybody who has a phone in a little time can do this. Sheriff Mack is going there next week. He has one appointment with one of his congressmen, but he needs more. Specifically, I have the phone numbers and the names of the representatives from Kansas and Kentucky. So get ready and write these names down. Out of Kansas, Roger Marshall. His phone number is 202-225-2715. And all these people have, these representatives have 202-225 numbers. So I can just give you the last 4. So that's Roger Marshall, 202-225-2715. Lynn Jenkins, the same beginning, 202-225-6601. That's 6601. Then we have Kevin Yoder. Now, Yoder, that's a lot of Amish people have the name of Yoder. Maybe he's related somehow or has Amish family.
No, but you're right. That is a familiar Amish name.
Yeah, so maybe he'll be sympathetic. 202-225-2865. That's from Kansas. From Kentucky, James Comer. 202-225-3115. James Comer. Brett Guthrie. 3501, the last 4. 3501. Brett Guthrie. John Yarmouth. 5401, the last 4. 5401. Thomas Massey. 3465. 3465. Thomas Massey. Harold Rogers. 4601. 4601. Harold Rogers. And the last one, Andy Barr. 4706. 4706. Andy Barr. And the 2 senators from Kentucky, that's where the Amish, that criminal salve maker that we have, Sam Gerard, he's from Kentucky. Mitch McConnell, of course, and Rand Paul are the senators. Now, their number is 202-224, not 225. So that's the difference between a senator and a representative phone number. 202-224-2541 from Mitch McConnell. 2541. Mitch McConnell, Rand Paul, 4343, and we really want to get to Rand Paul. We feel we can have a sympathetic ear. 4343. Now, I've just read off about 10 Congress people, Senate, House of Representatives. We want you to inundate, to flood these people with calls and say, we want an appointment for Sheriff Mack to present our petition to you. It is extremely important next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday when he comes. Please, everybody light up their board and demand or ask in a strong way that these congressmen meet with Sheriff Mack next week, either Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. Tell them you want an appointment for Sheriff Mack. See, you may make progress. I don't know. Get in touch with us at the Power Hour. Then we can pass along so we can get this straight. If some of you may have contact to congressmen or senators in your state, if you do, then please utilize that to get this petition heard in front of your congressman. Use the angle that you can. Use your connection to give Sheriff Mack, 15, 20, 30 minutes just to present our petition. Any reasonable congressman who is not open to hearing this, then there's a problem. They should be sympathetic enough to at least listen to the problems of these individual people. Our first objective is to get these people out, and then on a bigger scale, to stop the abuse and the victimization of Americans by federal bureaucracy. Finally, we feel we have an administration, a presidential administration, that will be sympathetic to these aims. Sheriff Mack, have I left anything out?
Not really, no. And it's exactly correct. Your question about is this due because of Trump? Well, let me put it this way. We would have had no chance to do this under Obama, and we would have had no chance to do this under Hillary Clinton. Now a window of opportunity is open. And yes, Trump has provided that open window. Now that puts the responsibility and the duty on each one of us.
Yes.
This is the power hour. This is the power hour crusade. This is the CSPOA crusade. This is the people's crusade to free our neighbor. This is the government creating criminals out of the law-abiding and peaceful in our society. We cannot allow this to continue. We must take action. This is not a call to arms. It is a call to action. It is a call to stand. It is a call for courage. It is a call for involvement. It is a call for financial support. In every aspect of we can get involved, we must get involved this time. And yes, this is quite an extensive trip I'm taking because I'm starting, as you well know, I'm starting in Kansas, in Wichita, on Monday. Now, I was going to go directly to Washington, D.C. Sunday night. Sunday night, instead of watching the Super Bowl, which is so meaningless, I can't even say it. But anyway, I'm not going to be watching the Super Bowl. I'm traveling, and I'm going to Wichita because Shane Cox, who manufactured a firearm suppressor, which is completely and entirely allowed by the Second Amendment and completely allowed and supported by Kansas state law, which they passed in 2013, a Second Amendment support law that they passed there that disallows the federal government to do the sort of thing that they did. So Eric Holder was arguing with the governor of Kansas about this a couple of years ago, so I guess he decided to show them that who was really the boss and that the federal government doesn't take orders from the states or governors. And they came in and arrested Shane Cox for making that suppressor, and one of his customers, Jeremy Kettler, they arrested him too because he bought one. And these are, first of all, this allows any government oversight from the federal government because this suppressor was manufactured in Kansas, it was sold in Kansas, and it never left the state of Kansas. So there's no interstate commerce, which is the only place they have any regulatory authority if it's interstate commerce. Well, it's not. And so this is a huge case, and for some stupid reason, the jury allowed themselves to be swayed by this judge who said they could not determine Kansas law, but just federal law in this particular case. They were found guilty, and their sentencing to go to prison is this Monday, and I'm going to be there for that. And we're having a press conference and a little rally in front of the courthouse beforehand where I will be. I don't care how cold it is. I'm going to be there. And so then, right after that, in the evening of Monday evening, I will be flying on to D.C., and I will be in D.C. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And I'm going to be walking the halls of Congress. I've been there before. They're amazing buildings. And then also the Senate. The Senate obviously is much smaller. There's 435 offices in the congressional buildings. There's only 100 at the Senate. So I intend to first meet with the congressman from my state, Andy Biggs, and then I'm going to get his advice and input and help. And then I'm going to go to visit Rand Paul in the senatorial building, a senator from Kentucky. And I'm going to ask him if he can get me in front of Mitch McConnell. And then I'm going to ask, and then I'm going to go to Kansas congressmen and others for them to battle and defend Jeremy Kettler and Shane Cox. And by the way, Jeremy Kettler is a disabled veteran. He served our country for 8 years. And now our government, the same government he was working for, the same country he was defending for 8 years, that he risked his life for, is now calling him a criminal and a felon.
This cannot be. This cannot be. Sheriff Mack, what time Monday you're going to have a rally in Wichita? About what time is
that? That's 8 o'clock. The sentencing's supposed to occur at 10. So the rally at Wichita Courthouse, the federal courthouse in Wichita, actually will be at 8 o'clock in the morning, and then I imagine we'll be doing a few things afterwards. CNN, amazingly, is actually covering that story.
CNN, President Trump's favorite news organization.
Yeah, the Communist News Network. But anyway, I have to applaud CNN for doing it, and I've been in touch with some people from CNN, and I'm getting a very lukewarm response from Fox right now, and I'm just not getting this. But I'm asking another reporter from Washington Post. He and I over the years have become very well acquainted and almost friends, and he's going to tell me what I need to do to get this in front of more news agencies. And then Tom Hartman, a very liberal broadcast journalist in Washington, D.C., has invited me to be on his show next week where we're going to talk about this. And this should be a time where the left and the right come together, where we don't make any differentiations about our political persuasion. Democrats and Republicans and everything in between should be getting involved in this. And I guarantee you that the abuses that have gone on have happened to Democrats as well as Republicans, and it's happened to black people and Hispanics and Asians and whites. It doesn't matter. This is not a color or race thing. This is a freedom issue. And yes, everybody who would like to donate, please go to cspoa.org, make a donation, send it into the Power Hour. We've got a mailing address. In fact, should I give that out now?
Well, the Power Hour, they can send to the Power Hour. The Power Hour will forward it
that's
on.
Even better.
Just make it simple. Yeah,
just mail it into the Power Hour. Go to our website, but do something to get behind us on this, because this is the thing. We're going to do this as long as it takes. And a year from now, we could still be talking about the hundreds of people that we've got out this year, but we've got to do 100 more next year.
Well, I think, like Francis said, this isn't a want. This isn't like a luxury. This is a need. This is a compulsion. I mean, how can we have a free country if somebody goes to jail for their life? For their life! Do you understand that? Their life for making a frickin' salve. A chickweed salve, because he offended, God forbid, an FDA official with a little plastic badge that he could have bought on eBay. And that's about the constitutional authority that he has.
Yeah, he has none, and Congress has allowed these bureaucracies to become powers unto themselves. This is the time to get that stopped. If you want to really drain the swamp, President Trump, we're here to help you do that. And the best way to do that is he's already talked about reining in or abolishing some of these bureaucracies. Well, this will give the emphasis to do it. The Eric Holder and Obama administration have allowed these people to go unchained, unchecked, and now the president has an opportunity to stop all that, and we're going to present that to him in such a way that we believe he will take immediate action, and we hope and pray that he does. And this will be a huge part of draining that swamp that he's been talking about. And there is no way that you can make America great again and continue to allow good, honest American citizens to go to jail for these ridiculous and stupid regulations.
Amen. How many drug dealers did Obama set free right before he got
it was up in the 700 range.
Yeah, and so Sam Gerard making a chickweed salve he can't get out, or the Hammonds and all the abuses that they oh my gosh. Josh, this just sends me through the roof. I'm applauding you. We'll be back after this 3-minute break. Please stay tuned.